Heat waves, heavy rainfall, storms, players destroyed from heat exhaustion, ball kids literally collapsing on the floor, and spectators passing out. These extreme weather events will keep coming back, stronger and more often. The most shocking scenes happened this year in Roland Garros, with players literally crawling on the floor and some others on the verge of passing out.
I felt quite horrible and dizzy and not. Was really hard to see the ball.
It's pretty clear climate change is disrupting the game, threatening the health of athletes and causing damages to tennis organizations. So, how can tennis adapt faster and better to this new, undeniable, unsustainable situation and better protect athletes and the beautiful game? So, there has been some scattered individual initiatives taken by tennis authorities here and there, which is good, but it's not enough, because when we see the scale of the challenge, we understand that what is needed is something much more global, coordinated. The new ATP heat policy is good progress, but it only addresses the symptoms. That is, what do we do when it's already hot and, quite frankly, dangerous for the players, rather than addressing the root causes, which is how did we get here in the first place? Which is why a more proactive, preventive approach is needed, like yesterday. So I'm not naive. I know that investing in retractable roofs costs tens of millions and it takes time, which is why I think that what we should do right now, urgently, is to identify the quick wins, the low-hanging fruits, quick, easy, feasible actions that cost almost nothing and that can have a quick impact on the ground, before moving to bigger and deeper adaptation changes in tennis. So first, I think there should be the same heat policy for all tournaments on the calendar. The ATP heat policy is a good start, but for instance, not all slams have adopted it, and often the threshold that would trigger match suspension, it is left to human judgment. So there should be the same standardized threshold that is based on the WBGT index, which the ATP heat policy uses, which is a good threshold because it takes into account the humidity levels and the wind. And then cooling breaks at specific thresholds. The WTA actually has a good cool down break systems that could serve as an example for the ATP. So longer cooling breaks, and then bring all the ice bags, cooling stations, fresher towels.
He's cooling down, he's got his head in the fridge. Well, let's get this guy to an ice bath as well.
During peak summer heat, evening scheduling requirement in hot and humid climates, please. So I know it's a different discussion because of the broadcast revenues issue, but I think we can achieve it as long as we commit to a more human-centered approach in sports. Then some inexpensive measures to keep the facilities cooler and reduce heat radiation. Cool court surface retrofitting and lighter colors for all hardcore tournaments, like the US Open has tried recently. These coating surface, they deflect the sunlight rather than absorbing it, therefore significantly reducing the temperature on the court at a very low cost. So we could start with the hottest venues as part of the tournament's annual resurfacing cycle. Then as part of venues' upgrade cycle, they could install more shading structure like fabric shade canopies over player benches or ball kit stations. These cost a fraction of retractable roofs, and it's already being implemented in the Australian Open and also in the Middle East for their recreational facilities. Coupled with green walls, low heat materials, green corridors, more climate education for players. I think they could actually use some more heat acclimatization guidance or guidelines, which is at the moment left to the individual coaching teams, and make the carbon tracker mandatory. Because it has yielded good results, it should be strengthened, supported, and expanded. And finally, in the long term, we need deeper, more structural changes. Currently, we don't have a unified governance body in tennis. But what would make things easier to implement would be for the slams, the ATP, the WTA, and all the others to agree on a common set of standards for climate action and adaptation. But is it politically feasible? And when it comes to retractable roofs, they should be funded through a levy on broadcast revenues or sponsorship. And I'm sorry, but maybe we also need some proactive relocation planning for the tournaments that are currently located in climate hotspots. So is the future of tennis indoors? Nobody wants that. And what's for sure is that preventing a damage, be it health or material, is always, always less costly than dealing with the consequences of the damage and having to rebuild. And I personally hope that some players will take the lead in climate advocacy and sustainable solutions for tennis globally. Holger Rune did a great job last year. And look, now we have a brand new ATP hit policy. So let's see what's coming.